Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here. One thing that I think unites silver stackers across the world is our love-hate relationship and somewhat obsession with silver prices, and to a certain extent gold prices as well if you're a serious gold stacker. And it's a really fascinating subject because not only is it of course very important for investing in silver and buying silver, it's what fuels the price of our investments, but it also really fuels some of the strategies out there that people have as to why they buy even in the first place, and also their potential exit and selling strategies. So in today's Ponderous Wednesday video, we're going to have a good, fun, thought-provoking discussion around silver prices and what they really mean to, well, myself. I'm going to present a lot of my own thoughts and opinions on this. We're also going to have a chat about shooting the moon and the recent rises in prices and what that maybe really does mean for the future and what my thoughts are about that. It's probably going to be pretty controversial, and I would love to know your thoughts and opinions on this down in the comment section. All I would ask is that you be respectful of mine and other people's opinions, so I'll see you down there. Last thing to say is that in this video we are just here sharing some conjecture, we're sharing some thought-provoking ideas, we're not giving financial advice, and any financial decisions you make having watched today's video are yours and yours alone. Now for myself, silver prices, gosh, well I remember when I bought my first pieces of silver, I was watching the silver prices going up and down on that particular day, and I was thinking to myself, well, should I buy now? Well, if I buy now, it's cheaper than it was a few minutes ago, but it could go even further cheaper, or it could go up again. And it's one of those really fascinating things that I paid an awful lot of attention to. And I remember when I got my first batch of silver in, it was about a 60-ounce purchase, the very first batch. I was basically cataloguing every single piece in a spreadsheet with a live kind of silver price side of things there, you know, in the Excel spreadsheet, and I was tracking my investment and I was seeing what I could get. And of course, you know, I very quickly realized that in the UK, when you buy these types of things, you're automatically at a loss leader because of the sales price and the VAT and the import duties and taxes and things like that. So it was a really interesting thing. So eventually I put all of that silver in a drawer, and I thought, well, I'll just leave it for 5-10 years. That would be my thought. But then things progressed and I got the bug for more and more silver, and I started watching the silver price almost again every sort of day, every other day. And, you know, decisions about when to buy things were really very interesting for me to make. However, I don't think that that's really the best and healthiest way to go about investing in silver. Now, this is going to be the bit where it's, you know, it'll make sense to quite a lot of, I think, the hardcore stackers out there, which I am not going to say that I'm a hardcore stacker, because I do feel like at some point in my lifetime I will look to sell a lot of the silver and gold that I have to finance my retirement. But, you know, I kind of look at it as a very long-term savings mechanism. It's like another bank account for me now. You know, you have the precious metals sitting there, and as it might require it, you then look to sell them and release some of the profits, or potentially losses in there as well. You know, there are certain premium items which I've bought which are probably going to be loss leaders. However, I just view it as a savings mechanism for the future. So realistically, nowadays, I don't pay that much attention to silver prices. I mean, I'll see them every other couple of days or so, but I don't obsess over them. And if I'm going to go and make a purchase of some silver or some gold, I don't really focus too much on that daily change in spot price. Oh, there's a nasty little mark on this Krugerrand I've noticed. There's like a little spot there that's caused a milk spot around it. I don't know. That's very interesting. These are fresh out of a tube. So yeah, I don't really obsess over the silver price when I'm looking to make a purchase anymore. I used to, but I just, you know, if you're going to make that decision to buy, and I've talked so many times about, you know, decisions about why you're buying or selling silver in the first place, and if it fits in with your plans, if it fits in with your budgets, and it fits in with your strategies, then in my opinion you should just go ahead and buy it. And you know, there was a couple of times that I've purchased some items via somebody else over in the United States. They've helped me purchase things that aren't able to be delivered directly from the company to the UK, so they get it, ship it to me. And, you know, each time they very politely ask me, is there a particular time of day or anything that you'd like it being purchased? And I'm just like, no, just whenever you get a chance. I'm not bothered. It's just, you know, it's going to fluctuate a little bit, but the end price is what you pay for it, and that is basically the nuts and bolts of it. and I don't pay too much attention to that anymore. Now, is that a little bit too nonchalant and a bit too cavalier? My argument is no, because we're stacking for that very, very long term, and I'm not begrudging anybody out there who does watch the silver prices go up and down on a daily, weekly basis. I think that if that is something you enjoy doing and watching, then fine, that's great for you. But for me, it's more about that long term, so I'm not really too bothered about it. Now, spot price also fuels a lot of our thinking in terms of the exit strategy. So I've talked there about at some point in my lifetime, I will be looking to sell the silver. And a number of people in the comment sections of one of my recent videos, I think it was on the one where I was talking about, is it a good time to sell your gold and release the profits? Because there's been an awful lot of rising in the recent couple of weeks and months. And, £300 an ounce is a tidy little profit to cash in. But it doesn't fit in with my strategy right now. So I got asked a few times in the comment sections of those videos, what price would you cash in everything? What if silver shot the moon tomorrow and it went to whatever price per ounce, £100 an ounce, £1,000 an ounce, would you cash in all of your silver? Now, my argument to you there is, well, there's twofold really. I firstly don't think at any point silver is going to shoot the moon in our lifetimes, maybe into the distant future if there's a global catastrophic event, but I do not envisage any time in our lifetime that silver will shoot the moon. And I know that's going to be at odds with a number of other people's opinions out there who are very, very strongly of the mind that silver is going to shoot the moon, or it's in the process of shooting the moon, and this last couple of weeks has been an indicator of its huge potential for the future. I just don't see it happening. And my argument to you in that situation is if silver shoots the moon and it goes to £1,000 an ounce, $1,000 an ounce, that might sound fantastic. You've bought this stuff for 12, 13, 14 pounds an ounce and you're making literally hundreds of pounds profit per ounce. But are you? Are you actually? Because if silver goes to that level, realistically there's only one reason why it would have gone to that price level, and that is because there's been some kind of major economic collapse, and silver prices relating to the price of the dollar or the price of the pound have shot up to those levels, and that means that the price and buying power of your currency has been destroyed, and you won't be able to release the full potential of those profits, because essentially silver and gold are there as wealth insurance providers. I've said that so many times on my channel. They lock up the buying power of the currency that you hold right now, such that you'll be able to use it at some point in the future. Yes, there are short-term profits to be made. If you are in the market right now and you've bought 4 months ago and selling today, you'll make fiat profit. You'll make profit on that. That's fine, and that is, in my opinion, relative profit. That outstrips the inflationary rate at the moment, or the drop in the prices of, the pound, for example, with all of the wonderful talks about Brexit going on at the moment and those lovely issues. The pound has dropped considerably, but it's not dropped in any kind of similar ratio to the increase that we've seen in metal prices. There has been a global sentiment to move towards metals as a safe haven asset. And, it's a safe haven asset for a reason. It locks up wealth, it locks up buying power, and it allows individuals and companies to protect themselves financially. So, that perspective is so important, and it's very, very misunderstood. If silver shoots the moon because of that, you're not going to get any form of actual tangible profit. You'll have great numbers on page, but it's not going to help. And also then there's the issues of capital gains tax. I know in America it's very difficult to make significant profits on metals without having to pay the IRS significant amounts of profit. Fortunately for us in the UK, there are capital gains exempt coins. Ironically, I don't have any of them on the table here, but things like the Queen's B series and Britannia's, those will allow us in the UK to have a situation where if silver went to £1,000 an ounce and we cashed them in and we made £50,000 on paper profit, that is not going to be physical profit. That's just, it's the new norm. If £1,000 an ounce because of inflation or because of devaluation of currency gets to that level, it's just not going to cut it for metals. However, if there was, and this is the most unlikely scenario in my opinion, because I just think it would cause far too much issue in the world with the way that metal markets are, but if metals went to a price point where and I see this a lot of times, I hear it a lot of times actually, because I listen to a lot of videos whilst I'm silver pouring. But if it was to go there because of the inherent value of the metals and what perhaps the new market data might suggest that they're worth, or if the ratio of gold silver goes back down to 40 to 1, which would essentially mean a doubling in the silver price if gold was to stay the same, or it's one of those things where I just can't see that happening in any quick form. If that does happen, it will be slow and gradual and you'll be able to plan accordingly, but that's not something that's necessarily going to happen overnight. There's not going to be an overnight correction on silver prices or gold prices to go back down to those ratio levels. It's certainly not going to go back down to the 16 to 1, 14 to 1, even 8 to 1, as some people have said. That's the ratio that it comes out of the ground at. That is just not, it's just not the way the world works anymore. The world is a very different place to what it was 100 years ago when countries were on the gold standard. And that's another thing as well. The gold standard is something that is being bandied around an awful lot, that Donald Trump will be reintroducing the gold standard. Personally, I think that's just hearsay. I don't think that's actually tangibly going to happen. I think if that does happen, it's going to significantly harm the other parts of the economy, because gold and silver will then be the backing of all currencies, and there just isn't enough gold and silver out there in the world to protect all of those assets that these companies and individuals have. So that would mean that the gold would have to be $10,000 an ounce, and that is not going to happen. And it's just simply not going to happen. And I'm sorry to rain on anybody's parade who really does believe that, but the last thing that we'll finish up with this video is, obsessions with silver prices and looking to where they're going to be is really, really difficult. And it's also almost tantamount, I think, to the sort of gambling side of things. So if if you can imagine yourself sitting at a blackjack table and you're thinking, right, well, I've sat down with $500, I'm going to keep playing until I've got 1,000. I'm just going to keep playing until I've got 1,000. That's dangerous. You maybe lose, and then you put more money on the table and you try and get back to that 1,000. You try and get up there, and it just doesn't happen, and you get in this ever spiraling downward turn of not being able to do it. Of course, there is the chance that you'd hit that blackjack and that it would go in your favour, and I'm not going to deny that. If it does happen, I've got silver, and I'm going to be a very happy chappy if silver does shoot the moon. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on it. It's a really fascinating topic, and it's not the first time I've talked about silver prices and silver shooting the moon. I'd love to know your opinions. I really would. That's the whole reason I make these videos. I know that a lot of new stackers out there and new investors in silver will watch these videos and will look to the comment section for other people who've got significant experience, and it really does benefit those people. So let us know your thoughts and opinions on silver prices. Do you watch them daily, weekly, monthly? How much do they form your strategy and way of thinking as to purchasing your next piece of silver or gold? Of course, everything that I've been talking about here in terms of silver prices can be related exactly to gold as well. Do you think that silver's going to shoot the moon? If it does shoot the moon, what will you do with your silver? Will you cash it in or not? I mean, we haven't even talked about if silver does shoot the moon in that kind of financial unrest period. At what point do you sell your silver? As we've seen in Venezuela, the silver price went up and up and up into the millions and trillions of home currency. But even 24 hours later, you could still have half the value, quarter of the value, tenth of the value of what you cashed out at. So do you hold on to it, and do you use it as a barter tool? There's just so many different topics that we could talk about here today that I have not even had time to address them all. Of course, that's the last thing about never selling your silver. If you're never going to plan to sell your silver, then are silver prices even important to you? When you look to buy, if it's something you're never going to sell, then what does it matter? It's one of those things. If you're never really going to have it for an emergency situation, and you just like to have it because it's pretty, then yeah, I don't know. There's just so many different strategies and opinions out there, and it's really important that you guys who are new to this look to yourself and your situation to try and work out what is right for you and what is the right course of action for you as well, because it is going to be different to everybody. So that's my thoughts on the situation. I hope you've enjoyed today's ramblings on the silver prices. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. If you enjoyed today's video, if you enjoyed today's presentation of this topic, then please do let me know by hitting that thumbs up button. And even if you disagree with my thoughts today, it would be great to hear from you down in that comment section. If you're going to be obtuse and a troll and just call me a moron, I'm not going to have any time for that. I'm just going to ban you from my channel. However, if you want to engage in a adult, fun, thought-provoking discussion, I'll see you down in the comments section. So please comment respectfully of mine and others' opinions. Otherwise, if you enjoyed today's video, thumbs up, share it around on social media. Also, make sure that you subscribe if you want to see future videos from us. Otherwise, that's all I have to say. Thank you very much. I hope you have a brilliant week ahead. And as always, please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.